Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers in Arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to take a look at a fantastic game that I had in the Henri IV, the Tier 10 French heavy cruiser. I'm divisioned up with my friends from APOC, Shinonome, and Sterling, and they're playing in the Minotaur and Grozovoy respectively, the Tier 10 British light cruiser and Soviet destroyer, and we're playing some domination here on the map, the Atlantic. For my captain skills, I have Priority Target, Expert Marksman, Adrenaline Rush, Basics of Survivability, Superintendent, Demo Expert, and Concealment Expert. And for my equipment, I have Main Armaments Mod 1, Engine Boost Modification, AA Guns Mod 2, Rudder Shift, Concealment Systems Mod 1, and of course, Main Battery Modification 3. So, first of all, I would like to say that this is a very new microphone that I got from my mother for Christmas. Very nice of her to do so. This is the Audio-Technica AT2020, a very, very nice Christmas gift that I received. And tell me what you guys think in the comments below about the microphone quality. This is a USB mic, however, I have been very, very impressed with just the way that it sounds, just listening to my voice back. And I'm sure after listening through my Sennheiser headset, which I've been using to record my audio for the past couple months, that this sounds much, much better. So thank you, Mom. I appreciate it very much. And I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary with a much better sounding voice of mine. So, with that being said, this Henri IV here in World of Warships is a, well, one-of-a-kind cruiser here at the high tiers, and a one-of-a-kind cruiser kind of in general. It's the only one in the game so far that has an armament of 240 millimeters. Now, these guns are the main bread and butter on the French cruiser. And to be honest with you, the French heavy cruisers tiers 7 to 10 with the Algérie, the Charles Martel, the Saint-Louis, and the Henri IV, well, they all have the same basic playstyle. You want to stay at range, you want to use your speed boost, and you want to deliver, you know, large amounts of damage with your high explosive and your very nice fire chance. Now, the Henri IV kind of takes that to the extreme. With a full fire build like I have, you have a 26% chance of a fire to get set on an enemy ship. And when you encompass that with 3,400 alpha damage on your high explosive shells, tied with the Zao, the Tier 10 Japanese heavy cruiser, for the highest alpha strike on your HE shells for any cruiser, except for, I think, the Graf Spee, but regardless of that, these HE shells are very, very powerful. But the armor-piercing shells on this thing are also really good as well. 6,200 damage on a Citadel. They are fantastic, and the gun platform that this thing has is just very nice. With Main Battery Mod 3 and with full health before you tack in Adrenaline Rush, you have just over 10 seconds on the reload. So the DPM is okay, but again, it's all about the alpha strike with these guns. The ship also comes with 53,300 hit points, which is a pretty nice amount, and of course, since it's at Tier 10, you have access to 4 heals, which is very, very nice. The AA on the ship is, it's okay, it's not bad. The Saint-Louis, the Tier Prior, probably has a better AA suite, but the Henri with defensive AA will still get the job done. I kind of liken it to a Moskva in that sense. It's good enough, but it's not anything amazing. You do have torpedoes on the ship. You get 1 triple launcher on either side, 9 kilometers of range. They will come in handy later on in the replay, and you do have some very nice arcs with this. However, the 2 big weaknesses of the Henri are, well, unfortunately, the maneuverability and the concealment. For the maneuverability aspect, the speed is not bad at all. As a matter of fact, it's the best of any cruiser in the game. With the Sierra Mike flag going in a straight line with the speed boost activated as well, you can push 43 knots in this thing, and it allows you to flex your way across the map. Well, honestly, unlike any other cruiser in the game. It's ridiculous. However, the rudder shift is very bad, 11.8 seconds before you upgrade it, and you have a 840 meter turning circle, which is very, very poor. And last but not least, the concealment with a full concealment build is only 12.7 kilometers. So there's a lot of Tier 9 battleships like the Iowa and the Missouri that have a better concealment. And this thing is kind of like the Moskva in that regard. You really do have to stay at long range. But unfortunately, the consumables that you have do not lend yourself to being very effective on the caps early on in the game. And that's the big thing with this ship. And honestly, the French cruisers in general. You don't have radar, you don't have access to smoke. All you have is the speed boost and then either defensive AA or the Hydra. But of course, this is not German Hydra that you have, so it's rather lackluster in that regard. So you might as well take defensive fire. And yeah, this is all you do. You sit at range, medium to long range, at least early on in the game, and you just deluge whatever targets are in front of you with your high explosive shot. Now, like I said, 26% chance of a fire. That is absolutely asinine. It's the highest with a fire build of any of the cruisers at tier 10, even more so than the Zhao, which is really nice. And you're going to see here throughout the entirety of this game, the amount of damage that I'm going to do with the high explosive shot is very, very good. Now, I've only played 5 games in this ship thus far, but I do like it. It kind of reminds me of back in the day with World of Warships when, like I mentioned earlier, you didn't have the radar, you didn't have all the smoke on the cruisers, like the British light cruisers, that is. And it was just, you know, your high explosive and your armor-piercing shot, and that was about it. And this thing, you know, was bringing back some good memories from those, you know, very early days of World of Warships. And I think that's why I do have a certain affection for this thing. It's really fun to play, even though it sometimes can be a bit boring. You know, at the early part of the game, like I mentioned, you just can't be that effective on the caps, but there's just something fun about speeding around at, you know, 35 to 40 knots and just lighting everything on fire. It is pretty dastardly, I must say. Now, you can see here early on, I've already picked up about 42,000 points of damage. I have lit the enemy Yamato on fire already 3 different occasions, I believe. And you can also see the alpha damage on that last salvo, about 4,000 with 6 penetrating hits. This is a very good gun platform, as I've already mentioned a couple times. The Alpha Strike is fantastic, and if you're looking to deal damage in any of the Tier 10 cruisers, then look no further than the Henri IV. Now, one thing that must be mentioned is the armor-piercing performance. Not only does it have 6,200 alpha, like I mentioned, but the penetration on it is very good. You don't have as much muzzle velocity. It's only 845 meters a second, but the penetration is still very, very nice. It's just a touch below the Moskva, for that matter. So if you do manage to use the AP shells in this thing, you're going to be able to get some very, very big alpha strikes, as this poor Des Moines is about ready to find out. You can see here I got the high explosive loaded yet again, and now I switched to the armor piercing. Now again, it's a 10-second reload, so the DPM isn't anything crazy, but because I don't have the shell arc or the muzzle velocity like a Moskva, I'm actually able to shoot over the corner of the island at this guy, and I'm able to get almost my entire broadside around the corner. Looks like 7 shells, and there we go, 19,000 points of damage with a double citadel, 2 pens, and 2 over penetrations, and this Des Moines is hurting very, very much so. And you can see here, as soon as he angles a little bit, the armor piercing shot immediately bounces, but all I needed was just a little bit of his side to be able to take care of business, and I certainly was able to. And then for whatever reason, he decides to turn a little bit too far to the right, and I managed to take care of him with another citadel and a whole bunch of pens, taking care of my first ship of the game, that tier 10 American heavy cruiser. I'm already up to almost 100,000 points of damage, and I had 2 salvos on that guy of 19 and 13,500 points of damage. So you can see there, in the right situation, the armor piercing shot from this thing is just as deadly, if not deadlier, than anything else that you'll come across. I know the Hindenburg has more guns and a faster rate of fire. I know the Zhao also has 12 guns and has almost as good of alpha damage. But yeah, this AP in the right situation is very, very good. Now, like I mentioned earlier, you don't want to get too close to the caps in this thing, and that's why I took it out really far wide from the A-cap, and I tried to stay in open water as much as possible. And even with the poor concealment that this ship has, that's the thing. You need to stay in open water at the beginning of the game, so you have all the time in the world and you have all the room to be able to maneuver around with the rather lackluster rudder shift and the turning circle, so that's very important. Now you can see here, once again, I'm getting my guns into play. I have them all faced on the right side. It's just a replay bug why that rear turret isn't pointing to the right. But now I'm going to continue to shoot downrange at Compass Ferry in the Yamato. And there we go, another fire set, some AA guns knocked out, and about 3.6k damage dealt thus far. The damage ticker is clicking up some more. I'm just about ready to crack 110,000 points of damage. And again, as I pick up the assisted base capture, look how consistent that alpha damage is. The penetration on these 240mm guns is fantastic, and once more, doing some good damage here. Now you can see I have put that island that's just off my right side in between myself and that second Yamato, so I'm going to be able to use that to be able to finish my turn before he is going to get his guns on target on me. And one other thing about the Henri IV is, much like all of the other French heavy cruisers at the tier 7 through 10, you have very good over-the-shoulder firing arcs. You can see here, as I have turned away completely from that Yamato Pilot P, look at the angle that I am able to shoot back over the shoulder. With the speed boost and the way that the French cruiser playstyle is, when you get into a situation like this, where you're stuck bow on and one of these guys is in front of you, able to shoot non-stop, well, it really, really sucks. And you can see that Yamato is taking a pounding from the friendly aircraft carrier as well. I also do have my AA guns going at the enemy fighters that are over here, and I've already shot down 3 planes thus far in the game. And I'm just trying to set some more fires on this guy. You can see that he's burning in about 2 places. My AA is doing some more work. So yeah, and this Yamato is in a very bad spot. Now, one other thing about the Henri IV, the armor isn't the best. For those of you that have grinded all the way through the French heavy cruisers, well, you've noticed that it's not very good on any of them. There's really no cruiser in particular that has a good armor layout, and the Henri IV is kind of the same. You know, when you do get bow on, it's okay, as you're going to see a little bit later on against an enemy Montana, but yeah, the armor layout on this thing still isn't the best, so that's why you need to take as much caution as possible, and you want to stay as far away from battleships as you can, you know, as much as possible, I should say. I'm getting some more shots downrange at the enemy Yamato. I've lit him on fire, I can't tell you how many times, and he's backed himself up all the way to the map border, so it makes it very easy for me to hit him. And you can also see right here that I am stealth firing at this guy because he is between me and, or there's an island between myself and him. However, at this point, the score is 434 to 472. The enemy team has 6 ships left while we only have 4, so I do have to continue to have my carry pants on here. I'm loading some armor piercing. I saw that the Minotaur was coming around the corner, so I got 3 seconds left on the reload. He is about ready to turn to port and go full broadside onto me. This should be a fantastic salvo. And very unfortunately, I aimed just a bit too high. I only do 12,500 points of damage on that guy. Very, very unfortunate. However, as I'm about ready to try and take the kill, the friendly Yamato manages to take care of business. Now, one thing to note about the 240mm guns, you are able to overmatch the bow and the stern of any of the British light cruisers that you can face. So even if he angles away perfectly, if you get some shells to go right through that boxy part on the back or right through the bow on the front, you can get citadels and you can deal some massive penetrations. So at this point, I got 39,000 hit points to work with, and I do have 2 more heals to go, so that's a-okay. The Tirpitz is shooting at me, however, I am using my blistering speed and making some slight course adjustments to be able to make his salvo go a little bit off to my starboard side. You can see that he is burning. I'm up to 8 fires set so far in the game, which is a pretty nice amount. You can also see some enemy planes are coming in on my position, and it's at this point that I decided to pop my defensive AA. Now, like I said earlier, the AA on this thing isn't amazing. However, with defensive AA and a little bit of an AA build, and it's not bad. It'll get the job done. And you can see here, I am swatting the planes out of this guy pretty nicely. Make that count go up to 12 thus far. There's some more fighters coming in. Looks like the Tirpitz is about ready to kick the bucket here. Nope, the torpedoes did run out on that guy. My AA is still going to town. However, you can see out in front of me, there is a Minotaur and a Montana that were last spotted just northeast of the B objective. So I am aware of their presence, so that's why I am, continuing to push forward. Trying to get out of the way of the Tirpitz in case he wanted to take a shot at me, trying to put that island in between myself and him if he wanted to shoot at me. Obviously, his guns are not pointed, so that's good for me. And now at this point, since the Montana did shoot, I know that I have about 20 seconds left to be able to make this turn. Now, I'm okay with getting hit in the broadside by the Minotaur. I'm completely fine with that. I cheekily switched to the armor-piercing shot, and hopefully I'll be able to get some citadels on this guy. I don't think he was expecting the AP salvo. I pick up Confederate as I burn down the Tirpitz, and I do manage to get a citadel and 7 over penetrations on that Minotaur. You can see the Montana shot comes in, dealing 4,050 damage, and at this point I launch my starboard side of torpedoes downrange at the Montana. Now, like I mentioned earlier, 9 kilometers of range. They don't deal that much damage. They don't have the best speed, but at the very least, if you do stray a little too close to enemy ships, they do have some utility to them. I'm up to 22 planes shot down and 209,000 points of damage, and hopefully one of these torpedoes will slam home into the bow of that guy and force him to use his damage control. And that's exactly what is going to happen. I pick up the high caliber, dealing 11,000 points of damage right on the bow of that guy, and now I'm just going to continue to run away. There's no reason for me to continue to close the distance to this guy, so I'm just going to keep peppering him with the high explosive shot right in his nose, and hopefully fire will get set on this guy because his repair is down, and then we'll be able to take care of business. My buddy Shinonome in the Minotaur is also shooting at that guy as well, and there we go. I do manage to get the fire. It does appear that he has fire prevention on because it looks like his entire superstructure is in flames, but nonetheless, his fate has been sealed due to the utility of the torpedoes, and you won't get much use out of them, but when you do have the opportunity to do so, you should definitely take advantage of it. And you can see here I'm getting some more penetrations with the high explosive shot right in the bow of this guy, and hopefully this next salvo will be able to take care of business. And there we go. I pick up my 3rd kill of the game on that tier 10 American battleship. I'm up to 246,000 points of damage in this game. And what was once a 4 versus 6 is now a 3 versus 2. The Shokaku's planes have not been able to do much, and we've been able to wheel down the enemy team. And I've dealt a pretty solid amount of damage in this thing. And I'm also getting some long-range shots at the Minotaur. My buddy Shen is chasing after that guy, and I'll hit him occasionally here over the next minute or so with my shots. But yeah, this replay that you've seen thus far, that is about as perfect of a French heavy cruiser replay as I could honestly give you. Stay at range, at least at the beginning part of the game, use the high explosive, and then as the game progresses and you save your hit points up, then you can start to be a little bit more aggressive. You can start to take a little bit of damage because you know you're going to be able to get away with it. And with the hit point pool that this thing has, you can certainly afford to do that. And that's probably why I like this thing. It's not as hard to play as a Moskva. This thing does compare with it rather, decently, as they both have, high caliber guns, and they both have 9 of them, and they're good performing. But if you're looking for a ship that has a somewhat Moskva-ish playstyle where you want to stand off, but you don't want to have as big of a citadel to worry about, and, putting yourself in a bad situation with the radar that the Moskva can, do to you, then this thing is certainly a nice bet and a safer pick to make. So, excuse me. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and I'm sorry if I've sounded like a broken record. I haven't made a video in about 2 weeks. I've taken a bit of a break here with the Christmas holiday and of course New Year's, but yeah, I've really enjoyed this thing, and it's been a joy to play. So right now it's 731 to 674. The game is still technically up for grabs here, but this enemy Minotaur is about ready to kick the bucket here. My buddy Shinonome here any second now should be getting some nice armor-piercing hits into him. He's down to 1,780 hit points. Will I be able to secure my 4th kill of the game? Unfortunately, no. I put him on 130 hit points, and then any second now, my buddy Shin is going to take care of business, and there we go. He gets his kill, and that is going to wrap this game up here. So, yeah. Everything that you've seen in this replay, this is textbook French heavy cruiser gameplay. This is exactly how you need to play this thing. And obviously you won't be getting 255,000 points of damage every game. But the impact that I had on it, going down to A, staying in open water, just dealing a lot of damage to any ship that was sitting bow on or any ship that was providing a good target, and just moving around the map and putting myself in a place where I could keep my guns firing all the time, and I was able to deal a lot of damage. So, you can see in chat, good job, APOC. Yep, we certainly held our own in this game as I pick up my 2nd assisted base capture. So with that being said, we're now going to take a look at the post-battle results. Alrighty guys, taking a look now at the post-battle results. 652,000 credits received, 5,100 total EXP. I picked up Confederate and high caliber, dealing 255,000 points of damage off of 289 shell hits and 1 torpedo. I shot down 25 planes, sank 3 enemy ships, had 10 fires set and 4 citadels, 4 defense ribbons, and 2 assisted base captures. Taking a look at the team score, 3,296 base EXP. That is a very hefty total, whatever way you look at it. Coming in 2nd place, the Yamato, very nice job of 2,548 base EXP. And then my buddy Shin coming in 4th place with 1,859 with 2 kills and 13 planes of his own. Now taking a look at the detailed report, 186,000 points of damage dealt off of the 118,000 with the high explosive and the 68,000 with the AP. 11,000 with the torpedoes, and I almost had a Witherer, 56,000 points of damage dealt with the fires that I set. However, look at the potential damage, 1.6 million. That is very, very impressive. I also had 50 out of the 240 capture points and 47 out of the 125 defense points. And I also traveled almost 100 kilometers in this thing, so certainly living up to its name of being a very fast French speedboat. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this replay. Please consider giving the video a like, commenting on it, or possibly subscribing to the channel. All of it is very much appreciated. And with that being said, this is the Sneaky Snake for Brothers in Arms World of Warships signing off. Guys and gals, as always, have a great day.